Hi, and welcome everybody to our Transition Tuesday for January. This is the first for 2021, and I'm just excited to see all of you here. And it's a great topic. You guys have voted by registration that this is a topic you really want to know about. My name is Cathy Chiero. A lot of you are friends of mine. I've seen you in other seminars, but we do have some new faces tonight, and I just want to welcome you. I am the team lead for the Cathy Chiero group with Keller Williams Greater Columbus, and we love downsizers. We have built a niche in Central Ohio of working with the downsizing homeowner, and I have always believed that the best client is an educated client. So we strive throughout the year to do seminars that are of use to you, whether it be tonight's seminar, which is the presentation on aging in place. We have one coming up on condo living. So we spend a lot of time throughout the year just bringing you guys into our knowledge base, connecting you with resources we have so that we can together learn and make that downsizing process easy for you. So I want to welcome you, first of all, to the presentation tonight, which is my home ready for the future? Now, none of us are ready for the future, I don't think, but we like to think that the home we love, that we can stay in it as long as we possibly can. So tonight we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about adapting your home to the future. We're also going to talk about in-home care. We're going to talk to some specialists to tell you what you should be looking at to really assess your home, to say, how long can I stay here and how long is it safe for me to be here? So I'll be introducing our guest as we move along. But first of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about why you're here tonight. I visit a lot of you. I have been in thousands of Central Ohio homes over the 24 years I've been in business, and I talk to a lot of downsizers, and these are the things that I hear. What are the clues that you might need to adapt your home to your future? First of all, many of you say to me, I have fears about aging alone. My family doesn't live close by anymore. So I can't just pick up the phone and call my son or my daughter. Many of you say to me, I've got a whole second floor of my house that I don't even live on anymore because I avoid steps. I have been in the homes of people who are sleeping on the couch because it is so difficult to go up and down steps. They're no longer using their bedroom. I have been in the homes of people who only go upstairs to use a bathroom to shower because they avoid steps. Do you find yourself being extra careful? Meaning that which I'm not saying we shouldn't always all be extra careful, but do you find yourself afraid to do things or go places in your house, or you're conscious of the fact that you're alone, or maybe your spouse or someone who lives with you is not around, and you're very careful holding on to things throughout the house for fear of falling? Have you fallen? Did you know that 31% of men and women over the age of 65 have fallen in their homes? I have a dog who I swear is a chameleon and blends into my hardwood floors. At night, I can't see her. And I have actually fallen, and in fact, I won't say hurt myself terribly. I didn't have to go to the hospital, but I hurt for weeks afterwards because I tripped over her and fell. I'm in that 31% who have fallen in their own home in the last year. Are you bathing, or have your hygiene habits changed because you avoid use of your bathtub or your shower? We hear that as well. Parts of my home are not accessible. I went to a home about a year ago that I went down to the basement. They were getting ready to sell it. They had huge foundation cracks in their home that the homeowner was completely unaware of. She said she hadn't been down those stairs in months, and I'm thinking it was years because of the damage to that basement. but it does come to a point that parts of your home are simply not accessible. Do you have parts of your kitchen, for example, that are not accessible because you can't reach up or you can't kneel down? Again, very common. Don't be ashamed of that. That's part of aging. It's one of the reasons those of you who are here tonight are here. And then finally, and what I hear a lot is homeowners will tell me, I think I'm fine, but my kids are telling me I need to move or I need to adapt my home. I think if I ask for raising of hands, several of you would raise your hand and say, yeah, one of those are me. But ultimately, the reason you're here is because you don't want to leave your home. I hear that all the time as well. And can I tell you, there's no shame in that. None of us want to leave the place where we are safe, where we have been comfortable, where we raised our kids, where we have great memories. That's a hard decision to make. But we also don't want to be one of the many medical emergencies that happen every year because we did not adapt our home. We either fell or had some sort of injury, and all of a sudden you're having to make crisis decisions when we could have made some adaptations earlier that would have made our home safe. So what is a future-proof home? Well, we know basically there's some things you can do yourself. We know that it is safe, that doors and windows lock securely. We have smoke alarms and security systems in place in the home. And more we are hearing about needing a personal alert system on your body so that if something happens, your cell phone isn't close by or anything, you can grab it. My neighbor, next door neighbor, great guys live next door. One of their mothers lives with them. And he texted me one day and he said, are you home? And I said, no, but Mike, I said, I think Mike is there. He works an hour away in Mansfield. And he said, Mom just fell and she can't get up. So of course I called Mike. I said, run next door so you can help her. By the time he got there, she was fine. The EMTs were there. Why? Because she had a personal alert system on her and was able to get them there. So again, what would have happened if she wasn't? Now, fortunately, we would have someone running next door, but what if Steve couldn't reach anybody? So again, those of you who don't have it already and are of the age to have concerns, you want to look into having a personal alert system. In terms of mobility and security, what changes can you make now, and we're going to talk about in the next hour, that make your home safer? First of all, one of the things you can do right now is make your floors free of trip hazards. I have a home that has all hardwood floors. It has area rugs everywhere. Again, very often a trip hazard when they are not taken care of. Things like dog beds, cat beds, anything like that gets in your way. The time is coming when those need to be lifted up. And then also, we're going to touch on this later. I know you don't want to hear it. Clutter, sheer clutter in homes. I have been in many homes where clutter is as dangerous as anything else going on because they just have too much stuff in the house, too much stuff on the floors, and it is an accident waiting to happen. We're going to talk in a few minutes about kitchens and baths, having modifications to allow safe and optimum use. Stairs, unfortunately, they're in virtually all of our homes. We're going to talk about if we can get in a house where stairs are minimal, or again, what does it cost and what are the steps to have chair lifts installed in our stairs. We're going to talk to a woman tonight who does that in houses, can tell you what that costs. And then I'm going to tell you as a realtor the impact of that kind of thing on the sale of your home. Finally, we want to know that all parts of your home are safely accessible if you get there. So as I told you, 31% of homeowners over the age of 65 have experienced a fall. Falls are the leading cause of emergency room visits among Americans over the age of 70. And again, as we've discussed, poor lighting, pets, area rugs, steps, clutter, too much furniture. So we're going to deal with all of that, how we can do some of this on our own. And then we have great resources tonight to talk to you. So what we're going to talk about also is, what are the steps to get help? Is in-home care available? Modify what can be done to make your home accessible. And finally, we're going to talk about decluttering. Some of you are here for yourself. Some of you are here because you have parents or someone older. There's going to be something for everyone. Our guests tonight on the program are 3 great resources right here in Central Ohio. You know, one of the things I've learned in the 8 years of working with downsizing homeowners is we are so blessed to have great resources right here in Central Ohio of quality people who are here just to serve the needs we're talking about tonight. We're going to talk to Christine Stauffer. She's with Creative Housing, Creative Renovations. Wonderful team of people that have done literally hundreds of homes in Central Ohio, made them age in place safe and modified homes. Happy to introduce you tonight to Doug Rowe of Brady Senior Home Solutions. He's a great consultant to come in and help you know, where do you even start when you're looking and what resources are available. And finally, Lindsay Chiero. She's with Capital Health Home Concierge. She's going to talk to you about the services that are available to come into your home. I think you're going to find that they're surprisingly inexpensive and surprisingly flexible. So let's move on. And actually, I think we want to start tonight. I'm going to introduce you to Doug from Brady Home Senior Home Solutions. All right, Doug, thank you for joining us tonight. Why don't you start by just telling our audience who you are and what you provide, what service you provide.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kathy. Hello, everybody. Like Kathy was saying, my name's Doug Rowe with Brady Senior Home Solutions. And we work with seniors that want to stay in their own home for the duration of their retirement.
Doug, I'm going to interrupt you and ask if you can turn your camera on so we can see you.
Oh, camera's not on?
I don't see him. Do you? Oh, there you go. Now you are.
There?
Yep.
All right. So we work with seniors that want to stay in their home for the duration of their retirement. And like Kathy was saying previously, afraid of falling, losing their independence, and having to make a crisis situation crisis decision, transitioning maybe out of your home into another level of care where there's more support. Might be overwhelmed with the thought of bringing in a contractor to help with the modifications, not knowing what modifications can be done. We can help link our contractors up with your specific needs. There's so many times that I hear home health companies are doing services for their customers or their clients, and they have concerns about just the physical plant of the house, steps to get in, access to the bathroom, pain points that Kathy was talking about earlier.
So, Doug, you do what's called an in-home assessment. And from what I understand in our conversations, it actually goes much further than just where do you put a grab bar. I mean, you're really taking a holistic approach, aren't you?
Yes, correct. So what we start off when you drive into the residence, looking at the access to the house. Are there steps in going into the garage? Are there steps at the main entrance? And just seeing where trying to find a zero transition into the home is the first area we look at. And then as you're going into the home, clutter is one area that, is common. But we look at the bedroom, at risk for falling, and then the bathroom. The bathroom is one of the biggest risks for falls, with tub entrance and exiting, looking at zero transition showers. Water bathrooms will have a private bathroom with a door. Sometimes those doors can be prohibiting people to gain access if you fall off the toilet. The texture of your floors in your bathrooms, as far as non-slip. There's modifications we can do from there. Then we go into the kitchen and hallways and doorways as well. If there's a wheelchair involved, if a door's wider, and these doors casings need widened to access wheelchair accessibility, or maybe a pocket door. There's modifications that seniors customers don't know are available, and we can help implement these to help maintain a safe independence and enjoy your home for the duration of your retirement. As we go into the kitchen, we can do modifications there as well with the cabinetry, so you have easy access to your personal items in your home.
What about advising them in if they have either in-home care, if it'd be helpful to have someone coming in the home? What kind of contact and knowledge base do you have in your tool chest that you can help them with?
Yeah, I've been in healthcare administration for 20 years and fortunate enough to practice as a licensed nursing home administrator in Columbus, Ohio. So I helped a referral 2 weeks ago. The client needed some occupational therapy in home, and I got him set up with some in-home therapy as well as some support for activities of daily living on a daily basis. So we look at the whole situation. I've done a lot of discharge planning through my career and seeing the challenges that seniors are faced with as far as we get their strength built up, but they can't get up the 5 steps to get in their home, but they're strong enough to walk up and down the hallway. So, I've seen a lot of need for these types of services, and I'm trying to help with transition to the whole scope of care: home health, Meals on Wheels, home modifications.
Doug, at what point should the homeowner start thinking about this kind of thing?
I think that looking at it, I look at homeowners for themselves as well as children with parents coming to live with them. As time goes on, the more we educate ourselves, now is the time to look at making these modifications for down the road. And that's what's so wonderful about, all of us working together this evening with our different areas of expertise to enable our aging population to maintain safe independence.
So again, I'm talking with Doug Rowe. He's with Brady Senior Home Solutions. And Doug, before we're done here, we're going to give people your information again. But my understanding is everything starts with that in-home assessment, right? Where you come and walk through the home with them, at least give them options, what they can do.
The first step will be the telephone consultation, and then I'll get kind of a feel for what the needs are, which I've done in the past. And then if I feel it's necessary for our services, if I feel our services could benefit you, and then we'll take the next step to an assessment. But prior to that, if we conclude that some home health might be necessary, or so with support with activities of daily living or therapy, I've got connections for that as well.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Doug, for being with us tonight. Our next guest is Christine Stauffer, and she is just wonderful. She was a great team sport and let us go out and watch her on the job. She's with Creative Housing and Creative Renovations. Let me show you first a video that we did with Christine here, and then I'll get her on to talk to you. So welcome. We are at a house that has been renovated by Creative Housing and Creative Innovations, our guest tonight on our Transition Tuesdays. So we're going to go in here and we're going to talk to Christy, who's going to tell us what you should look at in your own home as to safety considerations, things you can do to make your home safer. And we're going to talk a little bit with her about what they've done to this house. Come on in. Okay, so you can cut it now, Lindsay.
Kathy, you'll need to unmute, please.
Welcome in. This is Christy Stauffer, and you are the project manager with Creative Renovations, correct? Creative Housing.
Correct.
So tell me what your job is. What do you do?
So basically I go into anybody's home who needs something accessibility related. We walk around, we hear the trouble points, and I just kind of give some options. What you can do long term, what you can do right now.
We're standing in the kitchen here. Now this particular kitchen hasn't been modified, but the reason I want our audience to see it is to kind of get an idea when you walk in and look at a kitchen, what are you looking at and what should they be looking at in their own home?
So the first thing I'm looking at long term is we have a nice open floor plan. So let's say maybe you aren't in a wheelchair right now, but maybe someday you know you're going to get there. So we already have an open floor plan, so that's already taken care of. The next thing to do is to look at how often you use your kitchen, what you do in your kitchen. So for instance, this has front control for the oven, and that's important instead of reaching over. Since I'm so tall, it's even good for me. So I have to reach over those pots to get that. So that's something that we will switch out if the controls are back here, just to make it a little easier. If you move over here to the sink, a lot of times if we can open this up down here, if you're in a wheelchair, or if you need this lower or even higher. Now, here's one thing that we do a lot, is we take this control and we move it to the side or the front to make it easier to get. So once again, you're not reaching all the way over to access that. You can put it wherever you need it.
What about things like shelves? Like even being mobile and standing up, many of us never use or never can reach these shelves. Is there anything you can do to a kitchen to make it more functional for somebody who maybe is in a wheelchair or needs access to things?
So we can actually take out these shelves, and there are inserts that we can put in that you can grab a hold of and pull them down. So now you're accessing this entire shelf right here. It has a spring loaded, it goes back up. All of your items stay inside there, you close the door, nobody even knows that you have something in there. So you can access those. I would encourage you to use some space like even over here, or maybe some lower counter space to put those heavier things like the mixers. So that way you're not digging underneath of the counter to get those. So I'm gonna ask a lot of questions about what you do on a regular basis. How do you access this kitchen? Because that's gonna tell me what we need to address right away.
Before we move into the bathroom, because I know that's another big area, this house, you're very fortunate it has hardwood floors. But how important is flooring in your home, both for safety, mobility, that kind of thing?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of times we pull out carpet, and I know removing rugs can sometimes be a bad word, but it really is important. Because if you reduce that fall or eliminate the option for a fall, you're going to be safer in your home and be able to live there long term. So I know people like rugs, but if you can just get rid of them to make sure you have a nice clean surface. So we do take out a lot of carpet, put in a lot of hard surface. We usually try to put in a nice 100% vinyl flooring, so that way if you have spills and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to ruin that floor.
Okay, Christy, let's move on to the bathroom because I know that's a big focus area for you.
Absolutely. Let's go.
I'm going to let you go in here.
Yeah, so you probably want this one.
Yeah, okay. So Lindsay, you can go ahead and cut. All right, and so you can hear me, right? Brandon, can you hear me?
Yep, we sure
Okay,
can.
got it. So again, Christy touched on a lot of the points that we have been discussing, some very simple things that can be done to your home. Now, statistically, a large number of the falls that we find in homes when senior citizens fall, a lot of it's in the bathroom. That's where we have slick floors, we have water, we have climbing in and out of tubs. Some of you in your home have those big garden tubs that I swear takes a pole to pole vault into them. So they're just not safe and useless. What can we do with those? Here's Christy again. One of the most important rooms in your house to look at when you're talking about aging in place is the bathroom. Not only is it used every day, but it's also a room that has great potential to not be safe. It gets wet, slip and fall, stepping into a tub and tripping. All of those things come to mind when we're talking about safely using the bathroom. So I've asked Lindsay on the camera there to go in so that we can see Christy and get an idea of what they look at when they're looking at your bathroom to make it a safe place. You want to go ahead and get a shot in there, and then I'll ask the questions here. So Christy, let's say the same thing we talked about in the kitchen. You come into a consumer's bathroom, what are you looking at?
So most likely there was a tub here. So what we did is we pulled out that tub. There may have been a double vanity in here. We kind of pushed everything down because we want to make sure this shower is wide enough. As you can see, we have a zero transition into this shower. This is a sunken roll-in shower. These are all custom made. The framing and everything is down in the basement. So in order for us to do this and get this wide enough, we have to push everything down. But this is just a standard bathroom. It's a long, narrow bathroom, but we do need to get rid of that double vanity, slide that toilet down so we can get enough room. You can also do step-in bases, anything to make it easier for you to get in and out of that tub and get showered. So one thing to think about is you don't want to make this too narrow. Some people push the walls out and they make it really long. It's really the width that is important in a shower because that water is going to splash out. I mean, you don't need all of this space back here, but you do need the space to the side.
And you've got the grab bars there, essential. And tell me, when you walk into someone's bathroom, how do you assess that about where they might need the grab bars and how important are they?
So I'm going to give you a little secret. I always say that occupational therapists go to school for many years for this, but here's what I look for. I look for fingerprints on the walls. And I try not to tell people that because it terrifies them. And some people probably clean them before I go. But I will look for fingerprints, especially guys. I'm around toilets. If I see handprints up here, I'm going to put a grab bar up there. Same thing in here. If I see lots of handprints or the towel bar is missing, then I know that they're grabbing that towel bar to get in and out of the shower. One thing that we do in our bathrooms that I think is really cool is we give everybody this clip. You can put this clip over here. You can put it wherever you want on these grab bars. So if I'm sitting in my shower chair, I don't want to have to get up to get my handheld shower. I can actually clip that right next to me if I had this clip sitting over here. So that's one thing that's really cool to think about. You know, doesn't necessarily have to be something state-of-the-art. It's a simple $15 clip that we put here, so now I'm not reaching all the way up to get my handheld shower.
What impresses me, Christy, about what you're saying and doing is that you really personalize this, that you, I'm assuming then you come into the consumer's home and you're really looking at how do you live? How do I make this easier for you? Is that what you do?
Absolutely. It's how you function in your home. I can make it so the rest of the world can function in it, but if it doesn't work for you, then I've done nothing. So I want to see how you function in your home. What's important to you? Yeah, I have a shower chair back here. I don't want to have to get up to get that. Same thing with the guys. I can put a grab bar right here. You know, a lot of guys don't even think about it, but I see their handprints. Same thing with the towel bars. A lot of times we'll make these grab bars because we know that people, if you're going to fall, you're grabbing whatever you can. And if we make those grab bars, you're going to grab onto something secure. Perfect.
All right, so I'm going to introduce Christy to you before we talk about ramps, because that's a whole nother thing. Christy, if you could turn on your video so we can see you. We've watched you on video here. So Christy, tell me about, tell me first of all about Creative Housing, Creative Renovations. Do you even know how many homes you've modified in Central Ohio?
Well, we own over 635, I renovate about 300 a year, and I've been there 20 years, so quite a few homes.
Absolutely.
Do the math real quick.
How important is this to the audience who's on tonight? How important is it?
It's extremely important. I mean, especially if you want to stay in your home. If we can reduce that fall, then the likelihood that you get to stay there is even greater. So it's extremely important to modify your house and make it function for you.
And I'm going to speak of this too about from a real estate perspective, because I often get the question of, well, what will that do to my resale if I come in and make this, you know, a fully ADA handicapped accessible? And I'm going to be very honest with you. This is not something you're going to do for a 2-year stint, because if you're going to put all this money in but you plan on selling in 2 years to go to Florida, then you are likely going to have to unmodify some things to sell it when it comes time to sell it. But if you are looking at either mom and dad or yourself and you're saying, look, their health is good, I want it to stay good, and we're looking at a 10-year decision here, then you're going to, I mean, every decision in real estate is not just made on money. You certainly want to make a house you can live in, but that is worth putting the money in to do it. And, you know, I know, Chrissy, you can't talk numbers because it all depends on the house and what it needs. But I was joking with Christy because I said if they own a $200,000 home in Central Ohio, they're going to pay close to $15,000 to $20,000 to sell it, just in seller's fees. So if the only reason you're selling is to be able to get into a modified home, then first stop with Creative Renovations is probably better to see, can I put that money into my own home and stay? Because I bet, Christy, there's a lot of projects that can be done pretty modestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of things that you can do. You don't have to modify your entire house. There's some simple things that you can do that will get you through the next 5 years. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that roll-in shower that, I'm not going to lie, is, you know, in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. But there may be some shower chairs or some grab bars, or even that step and base that we can put in for a lot less, that keep you there for that, even that 2-year stint or a 5-year stint.
Christy, tell me about stair lifts, because we get asked that all the time as realtors about putting in a stair lift. And you gave me a little bit of a tip about a stair lift and the cost that would have never occurred to me.
So I always tell people when they say we have to move, we have 2 floors, I can get you to that 2nd floor. I can put in a stair lift for between like $32,000 to $5,000, $3,200 to $5,000. Depending upon how your stairs are. So we can get you up and down those stairs pretty easily. And some people say, well, that's my exercise. Fine. Then put the laundry basket on it, send the laundry basket up, so at least you can hang onto those rails. Now, here's the one thing that people don't realize. Let's say you have a really fancy curved staircase, or you have a split staircase. It is cheaper for me to put 2 stair lifts than to put that curve on that stair lift. That curve alone is between $8,000 and $9,000. So for $6,000, I can put in 2 stair lifts, or for like $18,000, I can put in a continuous stair lift. So a lot of times when we go into the home, if you can transfer, I'm going to push that option just to make that little adjustment there on the landing. You got to get up from one stair lift to the next, but it's a lot cheaper.
Good. And I would assume at some point, if a homeowner has lost the mobility to even stand up on the landing, it's probably time to consider going into a ranch anyway, I would think. Got one more video I want to show you, because we hear a lot about ramps, and Christy took us out to a house they had done that they had put a very nice ramp on. Let's take a look at this. So we're at another home now that has been renovated by Creative Renovations. Christy's come over with us. So Christy, we see right here a ramp, very common. That's one of the first things I think people need, aren't they, when they begin to have mobility issues?
Yeah, definitely getting in and out of the house is very important.
So when you come to a home like this, again, what is your process, and what options does the homeowner have when they're looking at this kind of access to the front door?
So the first thing I look at is where they're going to exit here on the driveway, and then I need to find out what my distance is. So this looks like it's probably 20 inches. So we have a 20-inch drop. So that means I need 20 feet of ramp. So a lot of people forget that. They're like, oh, I just want a little 10-foot ramp, and it doesn't work. It's way too steep. I always tell people you can get out really quickly, but you're not going to be able to get back in. So what I do is once I figure out that distance, I'm going to get my measurements and figure out what it is that we need to do in order to even get that 20 feet of ramp in this area.
Christy, I tell you, whenever I see ramps on homes, I often see wood ramps. You've done a really nice concrete with a metal railing. Is there a practical reason for that, as well as a cost reason? Why was that choice made here?
So in this situation, we have a driveway that we redid as well as the ramp. So sometimes you got to look at that cost. We already had the concrete trucks coming out. In order for them to do the driveway and the ramp, it just makes sense to do that. It is really nice with the iron rails. These last forever. I always tell people if there's a tornado, hang on to them because they're not going anywhere. We core drill these into the concrete and then pour concrete inside. So these aren't the rails that you get at the local store where you just screw them into the concrete. These are actually core drilled in. So these are going to last a really long time. The other thing is you can put some salt mix on these. But like another option may be aluminum. So if I live by myself and I'm in a wheelchair, or I don't have the ability to shovel snow, I may want an aluminum ramp, because I can coat that thing in salt, it can snow, and the snow is not going to stick on that, and then I don't have to do any shoveling. So there's pros and cons to every one of the different materials, the wood, the aluminum, and the concrete.
Christy, a question I get a lot is people who want access from their garage. And sometimes that's only 2 little steps up to the door, but it's a mobility issue. How do you factor that in, and are we losing a lot of garage space to be able to do that?
So a couple questions on that one. Let's say you have 2 steps going into the garage, but maybe they're giant steps going in. And you can still walk and do steps, but they're not quite as easy because those are really high. So what we do is we like to have a level landing at the door, because if you have stuff in your arms, you want to navigate that handle and open that door, and when you're not on steps or at an angle. So you always want a level landing, and then we can actually, if you had 2 steps there, we can make 3 steps, and then that rise is shorter, so you're not having to go giant steps up. So sometimes we can do that, and you can still fit your car in. If you do need a ramp, unfortunately, you're probably going to lose your parking space in there. However, you're also navigating that ramp in a climate-controlled environment instead of outside.
All righty. Well, Chrissy, we thank you again. Talking about first steps with someone, if they would like to have you come in and assess their home, what should they do?
Yeah, so if you give me a call, we'll set up a time. We'll kind of walk through, and you tell me what trouble areas you're having, and we'll look through there. I do a lot of people that say, what can you offer? I can offer whatever helps you make life easier. That's what I can offer. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions, but give me a call. I'll come out, see if there's anything we can do, and go from there.
Also, and I should have said this at the beginning, all of our guests are going to stick around to the end. So if you have questions for any one of them, you can either type those in the chat box that you've got, that you can see there, and Brandon will ask them for you, or you can, well, Brandon, we don't have access for them to ask on the air, do we?
We do not.
Okay, so you're just going to need to put them in the chat box, and then we'll respond and make sure your question gets answered before the evening is over here. My next guest tonight is Lindsay Chiero. Yes, it's the same last names, my daughter Lindsay. And Lindsay, tell us a little bit about the company you work for and what do you do?
Yeah, could you guys hear me okay?
We need you to unmute yourself.
You can hear me or you cannot? Sorry.
We can hear you. You're good.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, like my mom said, my name is Lindsay Chiero, and I'm the community liaison for Capital Health Home Concierge. I know that's a mouthful. We also try to refer to the name Home Care Concierge to make it easier, because there are 2 types to our business. There is a medical side and a non-medical side. So as Doug was talking earlier about having therapists and occupational therapists, physical therapists, nursing inside your home, our medical side will offer that. So let's say you've had a recent trip to the hospital, or you've been in a skilled nursing facility and you just want to get your butt back home. Well, we can help you do that, and we'll provide that nursing and that therapy in your home. Now that is one division of our business. I'm on our non-medical side. That's where the concierge comes in. So what we do is we provide a companion to come into your home and help in a variety of ways. And when we say non-medical, our companions are not registered nurses. They are what we call caregivers. And so they offer help, like I said, in a variety of ways, whether it be light housekeeping. We can help with transportation to and from doctor's appointments. We get clients all the time who say, I just want to get a haircut and I can't drive anywhere. Well, we can get you there. We have what we call adult children, where they're bringing groceries to and from mom or dad's home. And they're saying, I don't even know if these groceries are getting eaten. Well, our caregiver can help meal prep. We can help you stick to a strict diet. We can do all the cooking, and guess what? We'll do all the cleaning too. Because who wants to be in the kitchen all day and then have to clean up afterwards? So other than that, a big thing is we focus on, like I've mentioned, companionship. So something that I'm so sick of hearing, because I'm sick of feeling this way, we're lonely. It's been a really tough year. And when you're living at home alone, that has been emphasized during this pandemic. So our caregivers really become one of the family when they're coming into homes, and they help you do social activities that you may not have been doing as much. Let's say you love to walk, you love to do puzzles, but who wants to do all that alone? Our caregivers we bring in, we really match the personality to the individual to make sure that you have someone that you enjoy hanging out with.
Kathy, you'll need to unmute, please.
I'm sorry. And Lindsay, I'm sure what you just said was brilliant, but I can't hear anything on my end. It's a technical thing on our end. I'm sorry. So if I ask you questions that you have already answered, I'm sorry. But I wanted to ask you, as a real estate agent, I go into homes and I know many times people are afraid to ask for certain things. Like, for example, I've had people I know that would benefit just for someone to come sit with them or read a book or come help them maybe organize a room or something like that. Is that out of line to ask for, or are those things that you can have caregivers to do? That would be a question that I have.
Yeah, absolutely. To have a to-do list written out, and as soon as our caregiver gets there, they go straight to that to-do list. We know what we're doing that day. Well, and we also have other bringing in home health is in some way people view it as giving up their independence, but that's not the case at all. We actually